Okay, I want to welcome everyone to this event that we've all been waiting for on behalf of the board and the Ministerial Search Committee. We are pleased to present Reverend Tracey Quillen as our ministerial candidate. Um, Tracey, I didn't bring the formal notes, but I want to say that she raised her children in Unity and uh, in Georgia. And after a 27-year career in banking and real estate, she got her Master's of Divinity
Yes.
degree at Unity and has been a Unity licensed minister for 5 years and working at the Palm Harbor Church, which sounds a lot like ours. Half-time administrative director, half-time, all that. So she is familiar with our size of church and what we are going through. I want to say that her church is also going through the question of what to do with their building. So she is no stranger to that controversy and what's happening all over Unity across the country. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you. When she's done with her workshop, we'll have question and answers. And if you need to take a break, the restrooms are right down the hallway, but we'll go ahead and keep going with the questions and answers. There's evaluations on the back two chairs by the door. The board would love to have your feedback and we really would appreciate that. And to the Zoomies, we say good morning and welcome. We're glad that you're with us. And I'll turn it over to Reverend Tracey.
Thank you. Thank you. So what she didn't tell you, the board, we all had dinner last night, and then we went home and I just knew we're going to be those two little girls. Chat, 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 chat. At midnight, she finally went, I think we need to go to bed. So I know everything I don't need to know. So if it's okay with everybody here, I would love to open in prayer. And I'm going to ask you to close those outer eyes if that feels comfortable. Take a nice breath in. Let's do one more. In. Fill up those lungs. Yes. And let it go. For that beautiful power of three, the Trinity, the divinity within. One more in. And let's let it go. We are fully present here in this beautiful sanctuary. Heart, mind, body, center. We are open to share ideas, maybe learn something new today, create community, embody the teachings that come through, dance in the questions of life, and play. Hopefully a little laughter, maybe a little mischief, and this warm, inviting feeling of knowing that we are all connected. One source, one common ground, one thread of consciousness. For this beautiful gift that is already here present within each one of us, we say thank you, Source. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. So welcome. It feels delicious in here. And that might be because I've also had a very nice breakfast and hot coffee. But I love when we come together as a community. My experience with going to different Unity centers, we're still in that oneness. We're connected. We're all like kissing cousins. Do you remember when you go see family members and it's been a while and there's a familiarity because we have a common bond? And I think that's true of any place I've been a guest speaker or spent some time. And I will share a little bit. Going to Florida is hot. So last night when Patricia said, if you get cold, we have blankets. I went, no, honey, I won't get cold. It's all good. I'm loving my vest, loving the weather, loving the little town. So I want to share a little bit about my history, and I'm going to do it through the workshop because I didn't know when I moved to Palm Harbor that Tarpon Springs, about 25 minutes away, is one of the largest Greek communities in the United States. And I just didn't know what I didn't know. I used to hang out in Jacksonville, Florida, took my kids to St. Augustine, Florida, because I love the richness of history. And yesterday, tootling around with Lorelei, I looked at a lot of the squares and I thought, it reminds me of Santa Fe. A lot of this does, and the beautiful adobe and so forth. But let's start with, you've probably heard of Ooompah. And this is Ooompah, the grapes of life. Ooompah. So if you feel charged up anytime during the stuff I'm talking about, feel free to go, Ooompah. It's a celebration for the people online. You have little characters that you can blow off in there and say, with the balloons or the different things, or just type in Oompa. It's the grapes of life. So let's get started. So to share with you just a little bit, and this is AI's version of Tarpon Springs, but it looks like this. So once upon a time, 5 years ago, I moved to a little tiny town, Palm Harbor, right down the street from this Greek community they call the Sponge Docks of Tarpon Springs. And you see kind of the hanging balls under the eaves. That actually is sponges. And so the Greek community found this area in Florida where they dived in deeply, and it out, I guess, with the tourist trade being what it was coming to Florida, this created more money than the tourist trade for a period of time. And so today the sponge docks are no longer used to cultivate sponges, but it is still a wonderful place to come and have lunch and dinner, and of course collect sponges, and they're natural sponges. Next. Yes. What was that? Ooompah! We'll make it all turn. So something they do every year, and this is more of a traditional religious structure, but Tarpon Springs, on the 6th of January, they have the Epiphany. And I've watched this happen. A couple members of our congregation lived at the edge of the canal. And so there's a procession all in his regalia. The bishop comes down and they go to the very edge of the docks. And the first time I saw this, I thought they threw the Virgin in. No, they don't throw a woman in the water. They throw a cross in the water. And all these young men between the ages of 16 and 18, they're in little boats on this canal waterway. And they all dive into this dark, murky water that is used by the regular manatee and anything else that swims and crawls in the water. So it's really murky. Not like I would not be jumping in there. But their idea is whoever gets in the water and finds the cross has a year of blessings. And it's celebrated and it's put on national TV. It's a big festival, lots of food. So we might say, Ooompah. Right, exactly. Next. So I moved from Metro Atlanta. I was in Metro Atlanta probably more than 37 years. It's where I raised my children. It's where I found unity. I was in that church for 27 years, sat on the board. I got the honors of being the chairwoman. And as I watched my minister be ordained at Unity Village, the call came to me. And so, well, a little bit 5 years later, 4 years later, I became a senior minister and went to Palm Harbor. So my favorite food is Mexican. And I had to learn. Life is filled with changes. And so I learned the Greek foods because that is plentiful, whereas around the Metro Atlanta area, there was a lot of Mexican food. So again, we learn how life changes. We celebrate the changes. We might say, Ooompah! Yes. Oh, and baklava. If you like any Greek food. Yeah, lots of good baklava. And I learned the lemon chicken soup that's there. Oh. So I was married to a Jewish man, and I learned how to do the matzo ball soup. And we call that Jewish chicken noodle soup. Well, in the Greek community, it's definitely this Greek lemon chicken soup, and it's wonderful. Next. So this is me in Chicago. I heard some people talking about Chicago earlier, and I was there for the Parliament of World Religions. I fell in love with Chicago. I know that Chicago has winters that people can't even imagine, but I love the vibrant city of Chicago. And while I was there and just observing things, I began to reflect, and that's what the picture shows. How open are we really to change? What comes about when we think of transitions? When you're meeting someone who might be your new minister, when you're undergoing challenges about, can we stay in a beloved building? When you're looking at things in life and saying a relationship is changing form, things that happen to all of us during COVID, we can be fear-based, we can learn, there's opportunities, and I know we're comfortable. I know we know what we know, and then can we open our minds? Can we broaden our horizons and say, what if? What are the possibilities? So we know change is necessary for growth, but why is it so darn inconvenient? Yes? Next. So I'd like to chat about it. Like if you're just thinking in your mind, when I say something like change, and something might come to your mind that you're going through in one or two words, and our folks online, feel free to, if you can type it in Zoom, something in the chat box, just when I say change, imagine something you're going through in life, at the church, at home, popcorn. Give me some words.
Aging.
Aging, big changes.
Anxiety.
But values?
Anxiety.
Anxiety, anxiety, absolutely.
Inviting.
Inviting, there's my optimism. Say it again. New levels, like different dimensions. Yeah, nice, thank you.
Adventure.
Challenges, adventures.
Opportunity.
Who said opportunities? Absolutely. So we can look at this as an avenue to expand our already beautiful growing consciousness. I love the idea of dimensions. When we begin to do work together, there's a level here, and then we dive deeper, and we dive deeper. And for each and every person present, you're going through your own experience. And then collectively, what are we going through together? What can we envision that we are becoming more of? Because we're already perfect in the eyes of God. We're already that individual expression. And how much more can we do in a collective consciousness? Next. So I put some words out there. Something that one of my favorite ministers said, Reverend Jackie Fernandez, stay curious. When we are curious, we are open to learn. When we know everything, and some of us do know everything, right? We know everything, we're waiting for everybody else to catch up. But when we remain curious, we are open to receive new information, to dive into new teachings or hear them differently. And then for some people, change is fearful. Where am I going to move to? Is that airplane going to do what I wanted to do to get to the next level? You know, we start to look at life and we have an opportunity. It's always choice. We can, with our mindset, is it an adventure or is it a challenge? And we're setting the intention with our thoughts. Unity principle. We create our lives with our thoughts. So if you don't like your life, what do you change? Your thoughts. What do they say in Unity? If you don't like the stinking thinking, guess who's in charge? We get to change that. Hesitant. Have you ever taken, I'll call it the holy pause, in between moments, big decision, big outcomes. Maybe we should just be in the tomb for 3 days. Go within, that kingdom within, and allow it to unfold. Because I'm a really fast thinker, fast talker. I like to move, and then I have a board. And the board doesn't always like to move as fast as I do. So I have learned it's okay to do 3 days in the silence. Because sometimes people resolve their problems, and I just sit there and observe. Love, surround it in a consciousness of being. Another one, embracing. Embracing. Can we embrace change instead of being fearful of it? And then you can have 2 thoughts at one time. Let's see the next slide. Is it possible for 2 opposite emotions to coexist?
Yeah.
Give me some ideas. What might be 2 things opposite?
If a person's in grief, they can also experience moments of joy
I know.
in the depths of grief.
Absolutely. So for anyone who didn't hear, in the depths of grief, we can also experience joy. And when I do spiritual counseling, I've had individuals come and say, I feel guilty about that. And I said, but we are all of that. We are both at one moment we are joyful, celebrating, and the next one we're a little quiet. We're holding something really close to our heart, and both can be equally true. It doesn't have to be an either or. It is definitely, we live in the all of it. Give me some other examples.
Fear and trust.
Tell me more. Fear and trust.
You can absolutely be in the depths of fear and still find that moment of trust. Well, and
I love that. That gives me little shivers. We had a conversation at the board last night and asking just questions, and that resonates with me, that we can be fearful. And the question was something to do with when we get high emotions, how do we handle it? And the board at different intervals said, I go within. Instead of being everything out here looking for an answer, we are learning, even in our aging process, our maturing process, that we can go within. And those answers, when we're quiet, peace be still. Peace be still. And so the stuff is resonating out here. It's bubbling. It might feel a little crazy. Reset. I have this doctor in Atlanta, and she came to me one day doing a physical, and she said, I learned this new technique in California. I'm like, well, bring it on. She goes, it's called meditation. Have you ever heard of it? I was like, maybe just a little bit. And she said, but seriously, physically, the body resets when you do it. Oh, and I love that when you can let it go. Like beat it out. Like beat it out. When you do the drumming circles, when you're doing that deep inner work, and you just, we don't often say in unity, lay it on the altar. But when you lay whatever that trouble is down, you do not have to stay in the midst of it. I think it's even Einstein who said, you cannot solve a problem at the same level of the problem, because we're in the middle of it. We can't always see, so take a breath. Ooompah.
Ooompah.
Ooompah. I know, thank you. Does anyone else want to share? Coexisting two things at one time? I don't want to take it away from anybody if it's coming through. And you'll think later, you'll go, oh, I had it. I have it. Just bring it on up. Yes, sure.
around the fear, as I can be in a state of uncertainty and also be fascinated by the process.
Oh, that's
So
good.
there's, fear and fascination.
So fear and fascination. I'll share another really true story. Bella Lucia de la Montaña, my black Bernese mountain dog that I got when she was just a puppy. I was in Palm Harbor about 2 years and she began limping. Now, they say if you have a Bernese mountain dog, if you have 8 years, you are blessed. Anything beyond that is angel time. So she was about that 7-8 year mark. And this limp is similar to if someone has a accident and the orthopedic has to get involved and do surgery. Well, I took Bella to this incredible vet. It was going to be $4,200. Did I tell y'all I'm a minister? So I was like, $4,200. And I got really quiet with Bella and I put my hands on her and I loved on her. And then I got real practical. Did I tell you I was also a banker? So I got real practical and I'm like, $4,200. Do I have to get a new credit card? Do I need to get a loan on the house? And I was in my mind. I was in the middle of the problem. And all this chaos was rising up. And this sweet, gentle fur baby is loving me unconditionally. You know, dog is God backwards. Unconditional love, right? And I'm looking at her and I'm in my midst and I'm freaking out. And all of a sudden I got really quiet, just like you said. And that fascination, that stillness, how can this look differently? And it just came in as big as Dallas and said, go to the surgeon, schedule the appointment. It's all going to be okay. And that little girl ego was like, but I don't know how. I don't know. Shh. Just do it. It's a Nike moment. Just do it. And I did. I scheduled the surgery. The doctor was amazing. She did every little thing she was supposed to do. Now, what I didn't tell you, for 2 years, I hadn't filed my taxes. So I go to the person and we're filing the taxes and he called me up and he said, do you have X, Y, and Z? And I gave it to him. He goes, you're going to get money back. What do you think I got? $4,200. Thank you, God. True story. When we don't get in the middle of our chaos, when we allow spirit to work and move in and through us, it happens. Trust the process. Trust. Sometimes it's like, does it really work? Is this real? And I got really quiet. And Bella did fabulous. Lived another 2 beautiful years. Next. So you might have heard this once upon a time. And no one puts new wine into old wineskins, for the wine would burst the wineskins, and the wine and the skins would both be lost. New wine calls for new wineskins. Now, if you don't know, I'm also a teacher. I love teaching. And right now I'm doing a 10-week course for Unity Worldwide Ministries. And I've got people from all over the country. It's a Zoom. It's 2 hours. I'm on Central Standard, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. I mean, I'm tired by 10 p.m., except this class gets me riled up and I got to calm down for another hour. I'm teaching Genesis through Revelation. Try and do the Bible in 10 weeks. I can do the prophets in just 10 weeks. So we're on a roll. This comes up. We're talking about, what am I going to talk about here? We're talking about change. We're talking about new ideas. Can I have the next slide, please? So I wanted to know the history of wineskins. When I look at biblical stories, they often talk about jars. You know, if you go into the ancient sites, so they unearthed jars that kept oils, all that makes sense to me. But I didn't know the history of wineskins. And truly, the wineskins are animal skins. And as you pour the new wine into the skins through the gas expand and hold the wine. But after the wine is fermented and you pour it out, that becomes crusty and hard. And if you put new wine in the old wineskins, it'll crack the wineskins and they'll break open. Now you've spilled your wine. So metaphysically, how might we look at that? If we take our new ideas and we try to put it into an old formula, it often causes dissolution. It often causes chaos. We start comparing things. And once the end is the end and it's over, maybe we need to let it be over. Maybe it's okay to be curious and come up with new ideas. Next. So let's talk. Oh, I did. So if I was going to ask you about it, I just gave it all away. But you could probably think about that in terms of, as you are beginning, as we are beginning to discuss things in our own futures, and if we keep reverting back to the past, is that an opportunity for growth? Is it stagnation? What happens when we become stagnant?
Nothing moves, nothing changes. Old paradigm.
We get boring.
Who wants to be boring?
Oh, you stuck in one.
We could get stuck in a rut. We could, and what if we try something new and it doesn't work? What happens?
Go back to the rut.
You could go back to the rut or
Stay curious.
try something else. Stay curious. Do y'all know, what is it? Is it a tequila commercial? And the guy's got the bottle. He's like, stay curious, my friend. No. Okay. I don't treat that as tequila, but you know, there you go. There's the idea. There's the idea. But if you go into these ideas and you're not open to receive, and you just do what if you do what you've always done, you're gonna get
What you
Ooompah. Ooompah. Next slide. So these three, life, faith, and zeal, at the church that I've been serving, this is a 12 power path, and each one of those are probably about yay big. And our old ones had gotten crusty and the little stones had fallen out. So 2 years ago, this beautiful artist came to us from Safety Harbor, and she laid it out, and we all created the new ones. So we have these beautiful paths going to the back of the property. It's just fun to do that kind of unity stuff. So we already talked about wine and the old wineskins. It's not merely a caution against rigidity. So here we go really deeper. What did we talk about? The dimensions, the next levels. This is our soul's growth. This is our soul's evolution. Charles Fillmore said, our purpose in life is our soul's evolution. So we're not just doing things on a surface level. We are deepening our own soul's unfoldment. And a beautiful minister told me when I first became a senior minister, your congregation may not know this, but they are witnessing the evolution of your soul's path. And I thought, wow, y'all know that? And not only that part, if you're witnessing mine, what am I witnessing?
Ours.
Yours. It's a symbiotic relationship. It's a symbiote. What is happening in and through me is no different than what is happening in and through you. And we open our minds to understand it on a new level. So it speaks of the inspiration that springs afresh. in the mind of one who has surrendered. Do I have any AAA personalities besides me? I like to control things. I like to know how things are going to end. And boy, when that spirit comes through and says, today is my day, can you surrender? Surrender does not mean give up. Surrender is to allow something else to come through, but it can't come through if I have all the answers.
That's true.
So personalities that are very assertive, would that be a good word?
Triple A, like, someone, if your tire goes flat, you call the auto service.
Well, we executives in business don't just get there that way. But it tends to be the one that I get very exciting. It's a type A personality. So if it's an A, like my daughter is a Leo. Do you all know a little bit about Leos?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, she's a quadruple Leo. So that means there's a lot of energy when she gets fired up. So for an A, if this is an A, my previous boss in the banking world went, I'm like, I'm at Starbucks meeting a customer. He went, don't come in today. Because that means I'm having too much of that good coffee, which means it's going to get loud. So, that exuberance, that excitement, that's part of my personality. So when I first, true story, when I first came to Palm Harbor, I was following somebody who was a beautiful teacher of unity, but kind of quiet. They got me and they're like, wow, we're going to have to adjust. And we do, we level up. You have comfort level. There's a time to be sweet and gentle and serene and compassionate. And there is a time to rock the roof. And I'm that rocker roofer person. But I can do the other stuff too. So next. Have you seen this
Yes.
movie? Okay, so I wanted to show clips, but it is an issue. So instead I've taken some clips, and if you've seen the movie, you'll really get this. And if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to see it because there's so many beautiful lessons in this one. So if you remember, in this one, the young girl, Tula, she wants to do something different. She's in her family's restaurant, and if you remember, there's a part where her dad says, Tula, you'll have to find a man, you're getting old.
Right.
And like, what daughter wants to hear that garbage, right? And she wants to find somebody, but she feels trapped. She's doing what the family expectations are, and it's not working for her, and stuff, right? So then she finds a flyer, and she wants to go to college. But no girl goes to college in this family. They get married and have more great babies. So she wants to shift the paradigm, and she's talking to her wonderful mother. And this is what her mother says. Oh, this is Tula first. Mom, Dad is so stubborn. Mom is the head of the house. Very traditional. The Greek community is still very traditional where I was. And here's her mother. Love this. Let me tell you something, Tula. The man is the head, but the woman is the neck, and she can turn the head any way she wants. Ooompah! Ooompah! That was really good. Thank you. Next slide. So here she is. She's at the local college. She wants to take a computer course, and she's going to talk to her Aunt Thea that has a travel agency. I've been learning about computers, right? I could apply it right here, Thea, and your business would double and triple, and you can spend time with your husband. What do you say? Would you hire me? What happens?
He does.
Next. And this is one of my favorite characters. I just love her.
Yeah.
She owns a travel agency. She holds the key to a brand new life, infinite possibilities, we would say in unity, all pieces working together for good. And Tula says, of course I will hire you. Come. But she has to do some balancing because, Tula works at her dad's restaurant. And we got to convince Dad that it's his idea, right? So next. So they're at the restaurant, and here's Mama sitting with Daddy, and you can't see Thea. She's sitting across the way, and Tula's serving coffee because she wants to hear, but she's not allowed to be involved in the process. So Thea says, oh, it's me, bad. Business is bad. And so Gus, the father, says, what? Do you need money? So he's going to try to solve the problem. He's a good man. He's going to solve the problem. And Thea says, no, no, no. I make everyone go to the dry cleaning store. And now I have no time with my husband. No, no one knows how to use the computer. And then they stay quiet.
Right.
The holy pause. There is a reason for the holy pause. Yes. Gus. Gus comes to the rescue. I have an answer. Tula knows all about computers. She will go to the travel agency and Nikki, your son, will come work here. And Gus says, see the man? I know everything. Now notice Mama. She was turning. So I love this movie. I love this movie. And I'll share another little clip that has nothing to do with this just because I love it. So Aunt Thea is being introduced eventually to the fiance, and he is not of the Greek family and not of the Greek religion. And so he comes up and he's a vegetarian.
Uh-oh.
Have you been around a Greek family? I love lamb. I love what the Greeks make, all that stuff. So they're going to have a big family reunion, and when everybody's there, there's like 100 people there. And so the wonderful man comes up, and Thea says, oh, you'll come to my house. I'm going to make dinner. And, Tula says, oh, but he's vegetarian. Thea looks at him. The whole family's sitting there.
Right.
Looks at him and goes, vegetarian. It's okay. I make lamb. When do we accept what people are as they are? It's okay. I make lamb. I just love this movie. Next. So in the creation process, think about the creation process. What happened in this movie? What did we witness in this little skit on the movie? What did we see happen? Tula had an idea. Tula had to get support for the idea because the status quo said be status quo. But she had a brilliant idea. And to make that happen, she had to get support around that idea. And as we move forward, it is advisable to keep your inner circle close until you're ready to bring it out into the fold. So I know for today, right now, there are options about whether to stay or go in this building. And the board is working really closely with a lot of ideas. And I know there's been some information passed to the congregation. And right now it's still the idea is still right here. Before everything gets presented, can we trust the process? We're working for the highest good of everyone. We're not saying this is the only way. We have infinite possibilities. We go to the computer school and we go to the travel agency, and not only do we have a wonderful new job, we meet a new love. There's infinite possibilities right here for this congregation if we stay open, curious. So there is always some time for resistance. This is the way it's been. This is what I want it to be. This is how it could look. And sometimes we stay really attached. The Buddha says, do not be attached. Doesn't mean you don't care. It just means go in that holy pause. Just open the field for infinite possibilities, because that which we resist persists. And that doesn't create harmony. That creates unbalance. And we don't want that. This is a loving community. Did I hear over 100 years
Yes.
in this area? I mean, that richness, this is not the first challenge. This group has, now maybe not everybody here is 100 years old, so maybe it's a challenge for this group. And there is a collective energy spirit that rides in and through all of us from the ancestors, right? If we honor that, including the ground where this building is, the ancestors before us, the spirit in and within all of us, how do we collectively come to a place where we're all heard, even if it's not the decision that I want? Can we get there for the community? I think it's possible. I don't think it's easy, but I think it's possible. So when you're looking at this scenario, we begin to compare it in our personal lives. Sometimes you have an idea and there's resistance. Sometimes it's your work, if you're doing work balance still. Sometimes it is the church. It's that holy sanctuary. And I say my personal mission, being a minister, is creating a safe, sacred space for community to gather. That's why, I just feel chills.
Yeah.
Do you feel chills? I know you're an energy person. But I just feel, whoo, it's just like, woo. And it's like, so if that is my mission as a minister, my calling, then this could absolutely be the right and perfect place. But not unless you play with me. Ooh, now it's on here. Whew. I've been hanging with you too long.
Yeah.
Okay. So something else I want to bring to your attention, and maybe some people know or maybe not. Unity Worldwide Ministries, that was set up to take care of all ministries in the field and the ministers, has a vote on November 5th.
Oh, really?
And that vote is, will they be acquired by Unity Worldwide Headquarters? Now you're going like most of us, what does that mean? Well, Unity Worldwide Headquarters is Silent Unity and all the property and grounds and assets of Unity. And for resource reasons, they're asking the ministers and ministries to vote yes to being acquired as one
Wow.
or no. And the no could lead to resources become thinner and thinner and thinner. Now, there's a lot of reasons why you might choose one over the other. I only bring this up because what we do in our inner field is already out there in the outer field too. There's no separation. There's no separation. The decisions that are made on higher levels, we're doing inner work all the time. And I believe that's a collective consciousness. As we can resolve within, it funnels up to, can we resolve out here? Whatever that out here looks like. Whatever that out here looks like. Next.
Tracy,
Yes.
can you explain the benefits, pro and con, of what you just explained about the ministries and the headquarters?
So, for the best understanding, Unity Worldwide Headquarters has resources to better help the field ministries. And they have a whole new software set up about how we can engage and interact and create more in the educational fields. And I will say my personal own objection to this is we lose individual voices, and we agree through our regions to be the voting voice. And I don't do really well when you take my voice. So can you tell? Like when I'm down and deflated, the voice goes, it's like break time. But I really feel for me that I want to be able to call Roxanne, the new CEO. Well, I'll do it anyways because I'm that person. But I want to be able to help make decisions. And this brings things more in a oneness, which is what Unity wants to be. But in the 60s, they split it out. So it's probably confusing, and you can find a lot of data on the websites, unity.org. But it is trying to bring all of Unity under one umbrella.
So the ministries themselves will be losing their autonomy if the headquarters took everything over.
It depends on how you interpret it. I say yes. The chair of Unity Worldwide says, no, we build a stronger community. And the vote, the board, I can't say that. Ministers get to vote, licensed Unity teachers get to vote, and any delegates that have been appointed through the church, which was due at the end of October, get to vote. And this will be the largest vote since the 60s for the Unity movement.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to reshape Unity.
Ooompah.
Ooompah! Ooompah! We're gonna have to serve wine after this one. Ooompah! And so again, individually we may have expressions, and what can it feel like, look like as a collective consciousness? You know, is there strength together, more so, more resources than individually? And churches will have to make a
Just because
decision.
you become one does not mean that you do not have an individual voice.
Well, and those of us who like to use our voice, we can still use it. It will go up through channels.
So what you're saying is that you can't get right to the top person
I
with your voice. You have to go through channels. It's like a business.
It's more like a business model. It is more like a business model.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, if I wanted to call and speak to the chair or any of the top people, I mean, I can, but the board is gonna vote on the issues. It's not gonna be, we have convention once a year at UWM, and the ministers and other people can show up, but the ministers actually vote right there. It's in the bylaws. All of that will change if this vote goes through.
So it's going to vertical management as opposed to horizontal, which it seems to be now.
Feels that way to me, but you would have to read it and see what you think.
Could you repeat what he said? Because I didn't understand.
Okay, so he said, going from a
Vertical management
to horizontal management. The idea is that, the idea isn't gonna be top down. However, the board will be making final decisions towards whatever in the unity movement. So some people think it's the right move to go forward and some people don't. And it will be a historical vote on November 5th about how the unity movement is. Yes.
Are they, is there potential to where they would like every unity church to pretty much be the same, so it wouldn't matter where you went in the country, you would get pretty much the very same teachings?
This is a really great question. Yeah, okay, so let's back up a little bit. 10, 12 years ago when they did the branding, I love the Wings of Unity for many, many reasons. When they branded with kind of the globe, we are an international movement, and they wanted it to be more like you're talking about, cohesive as a unit. And if that were true, every unity is different. Some are more Jesus, some are more New Thought, some are more New Age. So it's not a coming down through the rafters saying we all have to be the same, but it does have a thread of commonality. Like most of us do the peace song, right?
Right.
Most of us do the prayer for protection, even if we've moved it a little bit. And then some people say the Lord's Prayer, some people don't. It's not going to be a rigid coming down the structure telling all unities you now have to be this. But the branding does bring, if you're on the internet looking for a spiritual home, the branding takes you to here's unity. So it brings us together, and yet each church, fiscally, financially, is still autonomous. You still make your own decisions within the church.
Okay.
Yeah.
Reverend,
Yes.
would you please repeat the questions, because our Zoom people can't hear them?
Yes.
Thank you.
As I remember them. Yeah.
Good question. Well, my question was, were they trying to have every church become homogeneous to where?
Right. So the question was is Unity's movement trying to make all the churches homogenous per se? And that's what we kind of had that discussion that, every church is financially and fiscally responsible for themselves. And every church today has its own set of bylaws. You have the right to vote as a congregation on the bylaws, usually once a year. That's not something up and down. And your board does the policies. So that will still hold true, but there's certain language in the bylaws that all talks about Unity Worldwide Ministries. That'll have to change because it will no longer exist. When this becomes one, it will become a branch underneath a Unity Worldwide headquarters. And people are doing this with love. They're doing it with discernment. It's not being done to get you. It's not that. It is, how can we strengthen the movement more cohesively in that style? So it is being done with love.
So as in a business model, there is like a vote of everybody that's part of the business having to do with certain things, okay? But usually it ends up just being the board members, but not policy or, power.
Well, and that's been the question. Is this
Yeah.
about power? Is this about being dictated to?
Right.
And that's not, when we come together in unity, we're coming together, what is the greatest good for the entire movement that we can all benefit from? Because questions have been, what specifically does Unity Worldwide Ministries do for my ministry? We tithe, what do we get for it? Besides an ordained minister, because there's other things too.
Reverend
Yeah.
Tracey, can I
Sure.
speak to this? On the 30th, is it on? Okay, yeah. All right, let me do this. Okay. There are 4 people in the congregation who are delegates here. That's myself and Todd and Charlotte and Carol Crossley, in addition to Ariana. And they've had 3 town hall meetings. I was at the last one on Thursday, Friday, whatever day it was. And all these comments came up. And it's very interesting to me. The president of UWM,
Yep.
and the president,
Valerie,
yeah, and the president of,
Ken Daigle from San Francisco.
Right. They pulled this together the 2 groups came together and said, let's look at how we could do this. So it's not a power play. It's not about homogenizing anything. The person from yeah, Valerie, she does the Lord's Prayer at her church. She used that as an example. So there's plenty of freedom here, but if we tried to run our church where everybody voted on everything, that would be kind of difficult. So this is a way to bring everybody together under one umbrella. I mean, we all believe in the same principles, right? And this just brings the 2 organizations, in my view, together. And yes, we have a pretty large organization here, so things are going to come up through the committees, the regional.
They are regional committees.
Regional committees, just like some of the work that we do here. We do it in committees. We don't have, 500 people trying to figure out everything together, because that's kind of a chaotic thing. So I wanted to say I felt like this was a very loving, inclusive process that they've gone through for over, a year, 2 years?
No, not even quite a year. I mean, it's been cut back, which has kind of been the concern. However, I really think it's the right intention. And you look at the home church, look at your home church. What did it used to be and how's it changed since COVID? That's also true in the movement. So how do we pool resources for the greater good of the whole movement? Once upon a time, not too many years ago, 10, there were 600 unity churches. Today there's 450. So let's just be, how do we stay strong, getting our message out to the general public? Things like that. And like we've all witnessed in our churches, where have the children gone? How do we change that? And so these resources are coming together to better fortify us in our churches to make decisions to help us and our communities. So I think it is absolutely done lovingly, a lot of discernment. I know that it's been some exhausting work because the ministers are doing it half ministries. So it's not somebody who sits out and above and doesn't know what's going on. They have ministries. They know exactly what's going on in our movement. And we shared that I brought my children up in unity, a 36-year-old and a 34-year-old. Well, after YOU, boom, they went and did their own lives. But I watched the unity that they do. They just don't call it unity. You know what I mean? So what if we did that with our youth? It's possibilities. It's possibilities. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So are they saying that this old way has not worked so well? And so we are coming up with changes and we think that this will work better?
Mm-hmm. The question is the old way no longer working? Is it no longer serving us? Will the new way work better? What I get from these town hall meetings, it'll be pooled resources able to help on a broader scale than how it has been. That's what I guess.
That's sort of the way you started this.
Yes, yes, yes.
With change.
Change. Are we afraid of it? Do we embrace it? Is it a journey? Is it an adventure? Can we stay open and curious? And they, even within our churches, things continue to evolve and we address issues as they evolve. But great point. If you have 75 people, we are very individual thinking kind of people. So 75 people trying to make one decision. We do have a voice in our churches up to our boards. They represent us. But at the end of the day, with few exceptions, the board is moving forward with our churches. And if we don't like it, well, you have another year and you vote again, right? You also have other kind of strengths in the church. Yes, sir.
I need some clarification here. I'm not even sure what the difference is between the two entities, Worldwide
Okay.
Ministries and.
And most people don't know the difference between Unity Worldwide Ministries, which was created for the individual ministries to support them, education, bringing a licensed ordained minister in, if you have disagreements, to do mediation. And so it supports the ministries individually. Unity Worldwide Headquarters owns the assets, all of Unity Village, the golf course. I don't think they own the hotel. They've been converting the Myrtle Fillmore's homes into Airbnbs, so they have assets. So you have assets and you have service. And service costs a lot more and doesn't have the same intrinsic value per se financially. And that's why UWH would acquire UWM. Does that help? Okay, yes.
Which one is responsible for the branding?
I don't know, good question. I don't know which one did that one. Which one was responsible for the branding? I don't know if it was unified. I don't know that answer. Yes, sir.
So if UMH takes over UMM, all right?
Close.
With the church then that we're in now, would that become seizable by UMH? Would they take the?
Now, you know, even today, worst case scenario, the church closes its doors because Unity churches have been closing. Most bylaws, you go by your bylaws, most bylaws say that you give any remaining funds, cash, back to UWM today. That's the ministries. And the idea was if a church closed, UWM, when they wanted to start a new church in a close area, would use those funds. That's the idea. Doesn't always happen like that, but that was the idea. These bylaws will predicate if a church closed where the funds would go. So the bylaws will change if this vote goes through, but the churches, some churches don't give it back to the mothership.
Well, that's all I was asking, is it to the advantage to stay with Worldwide Ministries as opposed to the headquarters? So the individual assets could stay in the community.
That will just be absorbed into UWH.
That's not,
Say it again.
I said, that doesn't seem nice.
Well,
It's always been that way.
yeah.
That's nothing new.
Well, please repeat.
So he's asking if a church failed today, most bylaws say it goes back to Unity Worldwide Ministries, which is trying to serve the ministries. He said if this vote goes through, UWH, which owns assets, would it automatically go up through there? And it will depend how the bylaws are written. And if it does go up into them, since they are supporting in resources, and let's just say Palm Harbor closed. And 5 years later, somebody 5 blocks down the road wants to open a church. They could go to headquarters, that would be the new entity, and say, we want to do this. But I can't promise that $500,000 that went in a checking account that went to them is going to be $500 for the next one, because I don't know if they used it for California. It's not designated funds. Does that make sense? Okay. But remember, we want the movement to thrive. We want it to grow. We want it to be here in the next millennium. So they're not doing something to cause harm, is what I'm suggesting. Yeah. You want to add anything to this? This went into a different direction. But what I can say, I mean, even in that level, as we look at ourselves individually, we look at our homes individually, we look at our communities, we look at our churches, we look at our politics, we look at all that stuff. That energy thread that we can work on starts here with what we can do. And then we move to the next level. And it's all in consciousness. Yeah.
This is unrelated, but you mentioned a spectrum between more traditional religion, Jesus-based, and New Age. Where do you fall on that?
Well,
Question.
the question is, there's a spectrum of differences from, we'll say, a more traditional religion that talks more about Jesus. And then I will go all the way to New Age. So I want to define what Charles Fillmore said about that. The Fillmores describe New Age, crystals, yoga, channeling, There's a whole list. Well, no, but he did meditation. He did meditation. So, like the Abraham Hicks, like ACIM, of course, in miracles, like I have crystals in my house. Fillmore's didn't get into that. They didn't get into, because they studied it, and they didn't get into channeling spirits beyond. That was not their mainframe. Not saying they didn't explore it, just saying that's not unity. Every unity has a culture, right? So the more Jesus taught, because I do more of that because I'm teaching more of it now. And it's interesting for me, if we don't call Jesus like the man, the one who walked Nazareth, but we look at him as the Christ within us. We look at the essence of, that could have been Mary Magdalene. That could be Mother Mary. That could be the disciples. That is us. That is us. If we get out of the personality and we get into what are the traits of it. So I bring a little bit of all of it in, because some of you who've gotten to know me a little bit, I do some of the divine feminine work. So it's what your culture brings to the table. So I don't teach Abraham Hicks because I don't know it. I don't teach ACIM because I'm busy enough. So I probably do a little bit of both, or three, however you want to look at it.
You mean the full spectrum?
Probably, because like we were talking last night at the board, I love Eric Butterworth. That's traditional unity. I also, I enjoy Brene Brown. That's, that's a modern day teacher, I would say, and Ooompah. So, more recently, Mel Robinson, doing the let them theory. And we were talking about that last night. That is not new information, but I'm hearing it differently. Not so crazy about Deepak. He gets a little too blah, blah for me. Doesn't mean it's bad or wrong. What's gravitating towards me, you're witnessing the evolution of my soul as I'm witnessing the evolution of yours. And I'll share a true story. And I shared this with the board. Beautiful man is in the congregation I'm serving today, and he doesn't know unity almost at all. So he came to me one day and he said, this chakra thing. And I went, yes. And I would say his name because he loves me. He'd let me. So I call him Mikey. And he goes, so the women, is this a menopausal thing? And I said, I am so teaching intro to chakra. So I did a 2-hour workshop. And he was like, oh, like no idea, because he'd never been exposed to it. But I absolutely love, is this one of those women menopausal things? To know Mikey. And I had 2 beautiful Reiki masters in the class. I said, y'all do the advanced one. I'm just going to introduce it. And, so we learn, right? We learn. We ask questions. Rarely are people coming and asking me to do Emily Katie, honestly. We could do it, but that's not really what people are asking me for. If that helps. Yeah. Yeah. What else? What else is out there? What's percolating? Yes, sir.
We, like many of the unity churches and probably religion in general, has faced this change in the society where less people are necessarily going to spirituality, or they're going more toward traditional big churches. And that has dropped our membership some, and that's happened in many cases. I'm just wondering if what you see is the direction that we can take that can draw in new people beyond what we've all done in the past, speaking of making change. What else do you visualize as a new direction?
So if you didn't hear in the back, he's talking about some of the mega churches and some of the more evangelical seem to be on some levels rising, and unity churches as a whole seem to be decreasing in membership attendance, and especially by our young people. Can I throw that in there?
Yes.
And okay, so we have this conversation with ministers of unity all the time.
Yep.
So what I'm finding to be true, the church that I'm serving right now, sometimes grandma has the kids for the weekend because parents need a break. Sometimes, so we have maybe 20 kids from 8 to 12. But after you get 12, these teenagers have soccer and they've got birthday parties and maybe it's hockey around here. And there's so much vying for their attention that we begin to talk, how do we bring our youth back into church? So maybe it's not Sunday morning. Maybe it's pizza Thursday afternoon because they want to know spirituality, a relationship with something bigger than themselves. But they don't necessarily want to call it God or Jesus. but they want to know where they belong in the universe. So how do we develop some sort of something that's interesting for young people, and how do you reach them? So you either have to go to where they are, or maybe it's grandparents weekend, and you bring the kids here, or maybe it's grandparents Thursday night, and it's something where kids have an opportunity to express what they believe. Like I served our uniteens for 3 years, and they are brilliant. They are brilliant. When we think young minds are not working, oh yes, they're working overtime. And these kids have been sequestered during COVID, and their education has changed form, but they're on the computer games. They are brilliant, and they're insightful, and they have something to say. So how do we create it? Maybe we need an open mic night for young people.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. And how do you get them in here? How do you advertise to the community? I don't know if the schools will let you do it, or the Y will let you do it, or this is us thinking outside the box. How do we create the next? Unity has great programs, but it can't always be traditional. I know there's people who come to church, there's people who watch live, but a lot of people watch on their own time, at their own, whatever is comfortable for them. How many people even go to the movies anymore? Like, visit. I used to love the movies. I go there and they pull out their cell phone and it glares right in my eye. I don't want to watch your cell phone. And I love the popcorn's not as good as it used to be. But if I'm at home in my pajamas, I got a glass of wine and the dogs are there, I'm so happy. If I get the commercial-free movie, you know, life is just changing. So where do we fit? How do we think outside the box? When you want more people to come to the church, how do you reach them? So sharing the book with you, The Autopsy of a Deceased Church, and this is written by Thomas Rainier, and he has studied many, many churches, and he talks about this. You have to let go of some things to let new come in, and one of them could be what they call, I kept calling it the wrong word last night, sacred cows, but the idea of the way you've always done things, open your mind that maybe it's not the peace song every Sunday. Maybe one Sunday a month it's Lean on Me. Maybe it's something else. Just, you know, because we become rote. Are we even hearing the words anymore? Are we just saying them? Maybe it's not Sunday service every Sunday of the month. Maybe the 5th Sunday we have a picnic instead. I mean, how do you begin to think differently? You know, because I do think people are looking at all ages. Where do I belong in the universe? Where is my role? Why am I here? What impact am I having? How do we meet that? Maybe it's guest speakers, you know, people who turn to the vegan lifestyle, or people who want to know a little bit more about Edgar Casey. Have you ever had a psychic in here? And that is not unity, but boy, it'll pack the house, you know, and that reaches the community. How do we reach the community? Because if you're just waiting for them to come to us, that's not working. I'm just not saying that people don't, they're curious. And I promise your online presence makes a difference. Almost everybody who found us in Palm Harbor in the last 3 years, they watched me speak online 3 or 4 times before they walked into church. During the height of COVID, I did as many celebration of life for members in the church as I did in the community. And I would say, how did you find us? I watched you online, and you're open to the LGBTQIA+ community. It matters. There's so much happening in our world that feels very conservative and changing things. Can we be the difference? Yes. Come. We're accepting just as you are. Because if you're really fundamental, you're probably not coming to a unity church. It won't feel right. And that's okay. That's okay. Be where you resonate. Yeah. Yes.
Quick follow-up question. Okay, this all sounds great, and it requires volunteers. How
Yep.
do you inspire us to become volunteers?
How do I inspire you to become volunteers? Because you know this whole thing we're talking about, the let them. I can influence. There's a little bit of juice around me. Go figure. But it's up to you. Do I want to do it? Do I want to be actively involved? So what I have learned, when you are planning a gift, when you go into the florist, we'll make it easy, and you're thinking about somebody who's been, let's just say they've been ill for a week or so, and you go and you pick out those flowers. Do you get joy from picking out those flowers? You're looking at the colors, you're picking out which flower is beautiful, and you get it all packed in a package, and then you go to that person's house. And you're on the way, and you are so excited the whole time because you're going to bring light and love and joy to them, and it's this beautiful thing of flowers. They open the front door and they receive it and the love in their eyes and the gratitude. Now they get a gift, but you've already got two before you got in the door. You see what I'm saying? When we volunteer, we've already gotten gifts before we've even entered the front door, if we choose that to be our way. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're very welcome. Thank you for asking. Thank you
It's
for
also
asking.
wine night.
But you wine nights? And that doesn't mean whining nights. It's an Ooompah night. What other questions? Yes.
How do you enhance the prosperity consciousness of the congregation?
Great question. One of my favorite, well, how do you enhance the prosperity of the congregation? So my very favorite minister in prosperity is Edwina Gaines. Y'all know her?
Yes.
So Edwina Gaines, I met her more than 35 years. Do you know Edwina Gaines? More than 35 years ago, I met this beautiful woman that's about maybe 5 foot tall. I swear to God, she was 6'2" and had these flowing robes. Her presence is, immense before she enters the room. I've gone to England and Ireland and Peru with her, so I'm so in Edwina's boat. And the things that she taught me, she's got a book. And I teach from her book. I've done small classes. I've done it up on stage. What I recognize in the experience I've had at Palm Harbor, if I get up there as a minister and tell us what we need to do, nobody's interested. If I put on a gold lame jacket and a bow tie, and now we're going to play about prosperity, people are in. It's attitude. It's how we can address things differently. It's not about me getting out Malachi and telling you throw the windows and the doors open and I need 10% of your money. That's not what it's about. It's about how do we fulfill our creativity in such a way that not only we reap the benefits, but outside of us gets the and that's a discernment, right? You know what your income is. You know what you can create. I have people who can't give physically, but maybe they would do open mic night, and that brings in $200, and they give that to the church. I have teachers on Wednesday nights. They do the sound meditations. We do a 50-50 split. I have people who get up and sing, and we don't pay them. They give back to the church. So that whole concept of how am I willing to give back, that's an inside job. I like to fire it up, but you have to make the decision. What do we want the community to be? Yes.
One of the things that I've loved about Unity, and I've been here for over 15 years, is the depth and the conversation as it goes deep. I am a member here. I don't only want to attract new people. I want to attract me and be here with depth, whether it's at the Sunday service and anyway, that's what I love about me.
So can I ask you a question? If you're saying at depth to me, okay. So she said, I want to attract me to Unity. I've been here as a member for quite a while, and I want to attract me. And I said, so let me think for me what the question might be after that. So attracting you at depth to me, my Sunday service, I'm trying to reach a lot of people. So maybe not everybody can go to the next level. My classes go to the next level. And the classes are interactive, like we're doing in the workshop. But that was light. Because when I'm bringing something to the table and we're in a group of 10 or 12, it'd be great to be 30, done that. We get into conversations, as my hairdresser says, how come we don't have normal conversations? We go deeper and people start asking things that are really meaningful in their lives. And sometimes the topic we started with is not at all what we're going to go into because this is up for you. And how do we take that in and explore it? And of course, I'll bring it from a Unity's perspective. And maybe what else I've learned in life now that I'm not just 30 or 40. Does that make sense? Yeah. What else? Yes?
All right, so the saying, what you resist persists.
Yes?
And, right now in the political realm, there's a lot of resistance. What is your take on all of that?
So the question is, in the political realm, it feels like that which we resist persists. What is my take on it? And here's where I do my own growth as well. If we are all one, if we truly, that's shivers again, all one, where can we find common ground? At the ministry I'm currently serving, There are 3 people who absolutely vote differently than I do. If my car battery's dead, they are there in an instant. If my house floods, they are there in an instant. True story. I won't say who they are, but in the beginning of the ministry, I invited them to dinner because the husband came and hung ceiling fans in all of my room. My daughter's very, very left liberal, like so far off the liberal train you can't even find it. So she knew that that was not their way. They came to a dinner and my daughter was such a little snot. Like she didn't want to talk to them at the table. I mean, it was next to rude. So I have this dinner and they're either polite about it or didn't know enough. It doesn't matter. So 3 years later, almost 4 years later, my daughter's back at my house and she says, I want to go over to their house and I want to pull up their garden and plant a new garden. 2 full days, 8 hours of labor each, no money. She did this act of love.
Wow.
She did it because she saw them love me.
Mm-hmm.
We have common ground.
Yeah.
We may express differently, we may even have different values, but we have common ground.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I
Literally.
can say to that. And for my daughter, who was like, I wasn't even left enough on the train for her. And she went over there and just voluntarily. Now I bought them little gnomes for their anniversary, but I didn't do any work. I mean, she did back-breaking, hard sweat labor work. That's love. Is that love?
Yeah.
That's turning a heart from one way of being, transformation. And I will go the next level. I love this word, transcendence. Because we're not in this realm. You know, if you want to go back to the Jesus, that's shivers again. So we are not of this world. We're in this, but we're not of this world. So get there. Get consciously there. Love wins. Here. Yeah. Yeah. I actually really love that story. Yes.
Really get on the mic.
Yes, go ahead.
Ooompah.
Ooompah!
I love what you said about your soul evolving and all of our souls evolving. And I've only been part of Unity 5 years. Before that, it was a bunch of other stuff, just so you know how groovy I am. And I asked a guest minister at the time, is unity an evolving movement? And that was really important to me. And she said, absolutely yes. And so when we're talking about doing something that hasn't been done in 60 years, that kind of makes me a little bit uneasy because it in my heart and soul, and I could be mistaking, but it almost feels like we're going backwards because a lot of really great things happened 60 years ago all over the planet that are going away. And I don't want all those great things to go away on the planet or with Unity. And so moving forward, I would like to see our community continue to evolve and for our connections to all deepen and for us to all more and more and more realize our oneness in all this. And so I'm standing here with this mic a little bit uneasy and uncertain, but also incredibly fascinated by this. I'm River. So I have a couple of questions for you. I have been experiencing, and we all have, I guess, the coming of the age of Aquarius for a good 50 years now. And I think there's a possibility that we're on the threshold or have crossed the threshold from Piscean age of thinking to Aquarian age of thinking. And are you aware of that? Aware of the difference?
So interesting you even asked this.
Okay, good.
Because I am an Aquarius.
Oh,
And I'm in a Pluto cycle, for those of you who study and watch this. Pluto is the upending death and rebirth cycle. Pluto is also sometimes a physical death. I lost both my dogs in the last 30 days.
you
That's
what?
a physical death. Lost both of my dogs in the last 30 days.
Oh my.
So, and the rebirth is I have nothing that holds me back now.
Wow.
You can look at it in fear and sadness, and there is sadness. Or you can look at it as an opportunity, an adventure, a time for growth. There is nothing holding me back to be the expression I choose to be now. And I love my animals. Can't do any more for a little while. I need some time. I need some time. I'm still processing.
Absolutely.
So to you, that Aquarius age, remember how they talk about when you bump up against, it's already seeping into?
Right.
It's already, you talked about the 60s and the
Mhm.
disruption. You look at the Pluto cycle 240 years ago, it was evolution and revolutions. Well, if we're not in a state of almost revolution right now. So I'm into all that.
Okay.
That's not unity teachings, but I'm into all that.
And as a minister of this church, being in the Aquarian age, it would be power for and with versus power over, right?
As long as we calm my AAA personality down, we're good. I like to lift people up versus hold people down.
And I love what you were saying about the teens. I don't know about all of you, but those 5 years from, say, 14 to 19, I had about 15 lifetimes. There's a lot that goes in. They are such a critical mass creative time of all of our lives. Boy, if we could get the teen thing going here, make a big difference.
Well, I think we have a pretty big sanctuary. I think we'd have a pretty good time in here.
Anybody else want to take the mic?
So I love this. How do I balance the divine masculine and divine feminine? And the work that I've done in the divine feminine that I've been called to do has been for the women who do not feel they're empowered and at the same level or similar to the masculine energy. We live in a patriarchal society. It is shifting slowly, radically at times, resistance sometimes. However, we all have masculine and feminine traits in us. So one of the workshops I did, which was extremely powerful for me, for those who get into this might be a little too out there, but okay, so in the astrological chart, you have a masculine and a feminine. My masculine is Aquarius, my feminine is Venus. I performed a marriage ceremony where the two talk to each other. What would it take for this one to say yes to this one in marriage and a vow lifelong commitment? So what that does is allow each of us individually, what would it take to balance the universe? What are we willing to do? It could be an amazing workshop. And it's something that goes at a much deeper level. So that might have been really esoteric out there, not unity teachings. And even the Fillmores talked about masculine and feminine traits. I would like to see a world where we just accept we're all of this and then some. That you're not masculine because you're the provider. You're not masculine because you're the warrior, because I got a warrior spirit in me. I'm not just the nurturer because I'm a female. I have watched men raise their children with no woman. You know, so we have all of that within us. What if we just dropped the personality and just say we all have this and this? And if I'm too much one way, how am I willing to commit and vow to bring balance within myself? When we start doing that, does that not overflow into our communities, into our lives? It's a hope. Yeah. I think she's going to let you say it again.
I was just saying that I see the divine feminine, that energy that's coming in is bringing in a sense of balance from the patriarchal society, which has ruled for a very, 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 very long time. And so the divine feminine is bringing that in and bringing both these energies together into a state of balance where it should be, which I feel will be much more harmonious for the world.
So if we're doing that in the divine feminine energy, we're not making masculine energy wrong.
No, absolutely
Right?
not.
Right. So for people who go, okay, I'm feeling a little left out, and my son's 34, this age group, I'm going to say from, I don't know if it's 20 to 40, they don't know their role. You know, it used to be the man did this, and the man did this, and the man did this. Well, it's shifted. And it's like, where am I as a man? And I watch it with our young people. Where am I? And it could even be men of an older age who are like, man, these women are getting really powerful. Do I feel threatened? Well, if the divine feminine is doing her job, she's not threatening you.
Absolutely.
She's
not.
bringing you with her. And in turn, it's a commitment, right? It's a commitment to one another. I'm with you, you're with me. Nobody has to rule it. Can we do it together? We're a long way from getting there, but we're getting closer.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
There's nothing to fear with the divine feminine
Well,
because,
she can be ferocious. You got Pele.
well, we all can.
What do they name the storms after? Females.
Yeah.
Ferocious.
Which we love.
But again, it's not about one being right and one being wrong.
Absolutely not. It's
Right.
just balance
Yeah.
your energy. I'd bring it to you, buddy. It's gonna.
If isn't too personal of a question, how do
Maybe.
your children feel about you moving to Colorado?
Oh, they're both on board. I mean, my daughter is in Taiwan right now teaching, and I'm sharing I've been sharing the whole journey with her, and she's been watching me. We all knew Florida was a starting place for me. I just didn't know how freaking hot it is. Oh my God. Humid, hot. I don't even care about the hurricanes. It's the heat. Holy moly. But anyways, my son may wind up here one day. His mind is, he's his father's child, that he doesn't like change. And I'm like, you're too young not to make changes. I believe we have the right to be in love with life, with people. And when we make ourselves play small, what did Marianne Williamson say? It is not, it is our strength that we're afraid of. It's our power that we're afraid of. We didn't come here to play small. If we are gods, then you would never played small to start with. We would be that person and say, come along with me. Let's do this together. Let's grow. Let's experience. And I'm looking at my 34-year-old going, you're too closed down. And he loves to ski. That might get him here. And my daughter's an artist. It won't be hard to get her here. And she's thinking about going back to school to become a lawyer, to fight for civil rights, da-da-da-da-da-da. So my family's, well, I'm not going to declare they're not going to have money. Maybe dad will leave some. But anyways, it's like, where is your energy field? Where do you want to be? And maybe I'll get them both here. And it doesn't matter. They're a plane flight away. No, he's in Atlanta. See, he's never left Atlanta. And it's okay, because Atlanta was Atlantis if you go into all that. However, and he's Scorpio. He just doesn't know it yet. So I think, both of my kids, once my son got over the fact that I left the executive offices in banking, now he's forgiven me for becoming a minister. But my daughter looks at me and she goes, this is what you were always meant to do. Yeah. Yeah. So what I heard from the very beginning, it would be wonderful to create this. So if everything worked, you guys love me and I love you, I feel like we're just loving each other together. How soon would it happen? And the wish list that I heard was before the end of the year. So I will tell you, my last day where I'm serving is November 16th. They know that. They do not know I'm here unless they've looked me up on the internet, which people have been really looking hard, because all I said is it's sweater weather. Okay, you're a little bit more than sweater weather, and I am happy. So some people are probably figuring it out. And I have a house for sale. I put it on the market October 1st. Pray with me, the right and perfect person comes. It's a cash sale on or before December 15th. They don't even care about the appraisal or the inspection. How's that for manifestation? That's what I'm saying. And I do have a nibbler, so yes. Well, and your 80 degrees is a whole lot nicer than Florida's 80 degrees. I brought something for that too. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited. What else? Yeah. You've like, the price is right. Come on down.
Okay, I had a little concern at the beginning of the meeting here, and it sounded as though you weren't sure, or you had maybe not been given the right information, but we have the congregation, the membership did vote to stay in this building and to do the repairs. And so that was a clear vote. In fact, we have a building team now, and we're making plans on doing repairs to the building. We're going to do the pavement, and then we're going to do the furnaces and that sort of thing. So I just wanted to make sure that you did know that we are going to.
So it has not been
Stay.
expressed to me as such.
Okay, I just wanted to, it was just a concern that maybe you hadn't been informed of that. So.
That was a straw poll. And it was a straw poll, and we are following the guidance of the straw poll. But it may be that the committee will find out that this doesn't work, and we may have to change, or they may make it work. But we're still open to the possibilities. There is a committee, they're making a plan, and we'll see if we can afford it. But it was a straw poll. So they've
I've
given
got
us-
that much information.
Yeah, we've been given guidance, and we're following that.
Well, and then what I feel, because I felt the energy in the room change. Yeah. Big shift. Big shift. Shift happened. There are bumper stickers. So if instead we were just to reset. I am here for all of you. You are here for each other. You know, kind of that, what was the, oh, I can see her, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and we're just going to be loving on each other. And we're going to love our way through this. We're not going to condemn or make anyone wrong. We want to have voices. We want to make the right decision. And we can do the holy pause. Ooompah. Ooompah. There you go. It's lightening up. I can feel it, you know, because we want to do this together. You know, we don't want this to be you're wrong and I'm right. Let's do it together. And maybe we take a little pause. Yeah. Yeah. All right, can we do it? So we're gonna do a deep breath in and release with Ooompah. Really shake the rafters. Ready? So a 1, 2, 3 in. Ooompah! Yay! That was really good. Thank you. Yeah, that feels lighter. Laughter helps, right? And go by and watch this movie if you haven't seen it. It's really cute. What else? Is it lunchtime? Are we happy? Nope. Okay. That's good. It's noon.
Question
Ask
and
the
answer.
questions.
So
It's okay.
I think we've done that. And thank you all for being here. And I hope you'll come back on tomorrow morning, where we'll again hear from Reverend Tracey Quillen. Thank you.
We're going to do
for-
yes in fairy tales. Are you ready? Okay, good. Thank you. Good stuff. Thank you, Mark. You make us sound good. I'm just rattled.